for most people getting ready to call it quits and retire? And do you want to continue working? Do you want to totally take it easy? Do you want to volunteer new hobbies? There are a couple of other big questions. Have I saved enough money? Will my money last? Another important question to consider, how much can I withdraw from my retirement account? So how do you start answering those bottom three questions? So if I saved enough, will my money last as long as I do? And how much can I withdraw from my retirement accounts?
And those are some tough questions, Ralph, but truly they are the questions that I hear most often. So let me just take each one individually so that I can give each one a little bit of time. But how do you know if you've saved enough? And that's certainly not something that you want to guess at. You want to know, but how do you know? So for example, Ralph, if I have two clients and one has saved $500,000 for retirement and the other has saved, let's say, $1 million, they both may be able to answer yes, but the answer may also be no. And you might be asking, well, how can that be? Well, if the client who has $500,000 has no debt, has a good pension as well as Social Security income, and their expenses are, let's say, $5,000 a month, they may be just fine. On the other hand, if the client who has saved $1 million, but they don't have a pension and they have monthly expenses of, let's say, $7,500 a month, they may not have saved enough. So it comes down to a lot of things that have to be considered. Now, the second question, will it last? Well, that has to do with where it is invested, how much you're paying in taxes, how much you're needing to withdraw, and how long you live, and many, many other questions as well. And finally, the question of how much can you withdraw, that really depends on the answers to the last two questions. And Ralph, if there are tools, that can be used, we use them. And it helps me determine, folks, have you saved enough? And how much can you withdraw and how long it will last? So I don't want to guess about these important questions, and that's why we have the tools that help us answer it.
It's sure something you wouldn't want to mention on the radio. You want to have that individual conference with that couple or that person.
Absolutely.
To really determine some of the strategies to go in the new year. Well, a superstar and financial celebrity Dave Ramsey recently stirred up some controversy among financial pros, Barb, and some of the analysts by claiming that 8% is a safe withdrawal rate as long as the conditions are right. Where do you weigh in on that question? And on the radio for all of us listening, how can you generalize about that on the withdrawal rate?
Well, it's a pretty bold statement, Ralph, but you noticed he added, as long as the conditions are right. So let me ask you, Ralph, how often are the conditions right? And so, we really don't know, do we? Some years the stock market is phenomenal, and other years, not so much. There is no guarantee. And when you have a large following like Dave does, who hang on every word that you say, and you tell your listeners that 8% is a safe withdrawal rate, I personally feel that that's very misleading and can cause serious consequences. And on the other hand, if the statement was made that you may be able to withdraw 8% in certain years, but it's not something that you can guarantee or count on, that would probably be more accurate. And the other part of Ramsey's story is that he went on to say you need 12% returns and inflation needs to stay around 4%. And we know that the stock market has years that it can make over 20% and also years it loses over 20%. So to take out 8% when the stock market has lost 20% and then tack on 4% inflation, Houston, we have a problem. Mm-hmm. And so for a very long time, there was this rule of 4%. And it said that you should be able to take out 4% a year and not run out of money. But that's been changed. And they tell us now, because of market volatility, inflation, and people living longer, it means that your money has to last longer. And you should not be taking out more than 3% to have a better chance of not running out of money.
Barb, before we get to our next question on savings and turning that into income, in the start to 2024, where are the conditions right? What's going well right now?
Oh, gosh, that's a tough one, Ralph. Right now the stock market still has its ups and downs. We're going into an election year, so I don't know that we know for sure, how that's going to affect everything. Mm-hmm. And certainly we're living in a higher inflationary period right now as well. So I don't know that the conditions are absolutely right. And that's it. From month to month, from year to year, things change. And that's why you have to be flexible and your plan has to be in place. And then then we make adjustments to the plan as needed.
So if this sounds good to you folks, Barb's number is 800-883-1518, 800-883-1518. And we're glad you're here for helping you retire financially fit. Barb, in Colorado, and all of our people listening to the broadcast or the podcast, and how do you talk to people about turning those savings into income and determining how much they could withdraw from their retirement accounts every year? So what's the discussion? How does that go?
Well, it's all part of creating a personalized financial endurance plan for our clients. We need to take a look at all the income sources that someone will have in retirement. This may be a pension, Social Security, annuities, and then we look at their monthly cash flow needs. And the difference between their income and their expenses will need to come from somewhere. So we need to look at what they've saved and how is it invested and the expected returns on those investments. And once we have all that information, we're able to plug in life expectancy, taxes, along with inflation, and we can better assess how much they could withdraw from their retirement accounts each and every year. And Ralph, I ask my clients, how much of their money do they want to last for as long as they need it to? And most answer all of it. And if that's the case, then we need to use the tools that will make that happen. And one of the best tools for providing income that will last as long as you do is an income annuity with lifetime income. And what is so powerful with this is that even if the account balance goes to zero, you're going to continue to get guaranteed monthly income. So a very powerful tool. If
Very
necessary, we want to make sure people know about it.
So when you meet with Barb in the heart of Colorado there at SF Financial, ask about those annuities. There are a lot of financial commentators and places and people online, Barb, where you can find financial information. I'll mention your website, retirefinanciallyfit.com, to go over some of the things we talk about on the show. And what advice do you have on sifting through all that information online and hearing the other commentators? And who do we trust when it comes to our retirement?
And I think that's a great question, Ralph. And I agree that there are a lot of places to find financial information. However, you need to understand that the information that you get online, for example, is general in nature. And the same is true for our radio show. It's general in nature. The only way to get answers that are specific for you is to have an advisor who gets to know you and your situation and can personalize your very own retirement plan. And I'd encourage you to be careful because there's a lot of spamming that's going on right now.
Can you talk to me, Barb, about those main pillars, the pieces of your retirement income strategy you build for them, including strategies helping us generate income for as long as we need it?
Absolutely. I mean, the core pieces of a retirement income strategy is knowing your guaranteed income sources, which can be your Social Security and or a pension. And then we also have to know your monthly expenses. And if there's a gap, figure out how we're going to bridge that gap. And when someone is needing to generate income, we look to what they have saved for retirement, and then we see if we can turn that into an income stream that will continue for the rest of their lives.
Great. So your income and insurance, tax strategies, healthcare costs, legacy and estate planning, all those pieces going into your retirement strategy. If you've been working with some other different financial professionals in all these areas, well, it might be time to start talking with a retirement planner like Barb to help bring all of this together. Right, Barb? Absolutely,
Ralph. And this is what we do for our clients every day. Give us a call. Let's get to your questions and make sure that they're answered. We want to help you address some of the weak spots that you may have, and especially make sure that you can retire financially fit. That's all the time we have for today's show. On behalf of Ralph and my team at SF Financial, we want to thank you for joining us today.